Still on his trail, aren't you? Getting closer, waiting for the opportune moment? Yes. I've watched you for a long time, and I'm watching you now. You can dog a man until he's finished, or a victory until it's yours. Quite a talent. No CIA man could be better fitted for the job. Yes. He's here, the man you hunt. His brow is shivering with sweat. His hands are moist with blood. So stop creeping around and tell me exactly what you want.
Athena. Oh, Athena. It's you, isn't it? I can't see you, but your voice comes to me like a musical instrument from another dimension.
I'm in your dimension now, Odysseus.
I've always loved you. You know you've always been foremost in my mind.
It's Ajax you want, isn't it?
Well, yes, it's Ajax, the man with the great shield, the man I hate. He's the one I'm tracking, but goddammit, who's to know for sure? Someone went crazy last night, some maniac. He butchered some cattle with his sword. He may have killed a farmer and his son who tried to stop him. Then he continued on his rampage. We're on maneuvers now. There've been rumors all over camp. Someone saw someone running across the field burning with dark moonlight, a bloody sword in his hand. They said it was a general. They said it was Ajax. Still, it's hard to know what to know. We're on edge. Every weapon seems to be pointed in our direction. But Ajax leaves the debris of a madman's room behind him. It's hard for me to believe.
It was him. It was Ajax.
Why? What
he wanted Achilles' armor.
I know he did. I know how much he wanted it, but the armor was given to me to honor my service, not his, and there's nothing that can be done about that.
He couldn't live with that fact, Odysseus. It was too much for him.
Why attack those animals?
He didn't know they were animals.
What do you mean?
He thought he was painting the night with the blood of his enemies. You, for instance.
No, Athena, don't say that. I can't believe it. I won't.
It's true. And he would have succeeded if I had let him. He was close to your tent, all of your tents. Menelaus, Agamemnon. You're out on maneuvers. What is it for one general to visit his brother generals? Nothing strange there, nothing abnormal normally. Just a late night brainstorm, a brilliant idea to share, your throat ripped open like an urgent telegram. But then I stepped in. I threw a net of fantasy in front of him and he walked into it deep with his boots and his mind. And I said, look, Ajax, look at those cattle in the fields. Look and you'll be able to see. Look carefully and you'll be able to penetrate the latest technology, the latest camouflage. Can you see now? Yes, he said. Yes, thanks for the tip, Athena. They can't fool me, those cows, those sheep, those black Angus bulls, even that dog. They're all my enemies. Oh, of course they think they're clever with their horns and their tails and their animal grunts and murmurs, but not quite clever enough. Exactly, I said to Ajax. Exactly. You're on target now. You've penetrated the deceit and you're starting to zoom in on the rancor they bear you, on the horror of their aims. Then he waded into them, demented, foaming at the face, hacking his enemies, leaders and followers alike to pieces. Good, I said, General, good. Don't let a single one escape. Offer no mercy. Let them feel the muscle of a true American hero, and he did. He hit razor perfect, razor sharp, over and over, home run after deadly home run, again and again. Then he stopped, exhausted after the massacre, and slowly, methodically began torturing the ones that remained alive. Ajax!
No, Athena.
What? Is the great general afraid?
Athena, please.
Don't you yourself a coward.
He's mad.
He's still the man you knew.
You know how much we hated each other and still do. I can deal with that, but the madness, I don't want to look at it, not up close.
It threatens you, doesn't it?
It threatens everything.
But this time you'll be on top. You'll be able to laugh at
No,
him.
I don't want to laugh.
Don't worry, I'll control him.
I wouldn't fear
His
him.
eyes will be blind when it comes to
There's nothing the
you.
gods can't or won't do.
Be quiet. Don't move. Don't speak. General, is this the way you treat your date stander up like this? You should be ashamed.
Athena, How lovely you look tonight. My dear friend, have you come to celebrate with me?
Yes, I have, General.
And this is only the beginning. The greatest gifts are yet to come.
Is your sword well greased with the blood of your enemies?
It's still smoking hot.
And what about the two sons of Atreus, Agamemnon, and Menelaus?
Stone cold, stone dead. Unrecognizable among the recognizable dead. I hacked them to pieces. They'll never have another chance to laugh and scream behind my back and take what is rightfully mine. When I get them back to the base, I'll feed them to my pet wolfhound.
You served yourself well, General, but what about Odysseus, your oldest and most dangerous
Odysseus! Oh, I have him inside, safe and sound, in the seat of honor among the dead and the dying. I don't want him dead yet. You see, I'm just getting warmed up. I want to take him back to the base, tie him up, and then whip him until my arm grows tired. Then take a break and go back to him again and again. I have a feeling I'll grow better at it as the day goes on.
Must you be so cruel to him?
You can command me in anything, Athena, but not this, not his punishment.
Then do as you please, General.
Yes, because you see, it's only the body I'm tormenting. It was my mind they worked on. I can't show you what they did to my mind. I can't take it out and lay it at your feet. If I did, Athena, you would be sicker.
I'm sure.
Athena, his mind is a bloody hand, his thoughts raving.
Now you see the power of the gods. One day he was the greatest of generals in the heat of it all, the coolest head, the calmest judgment.
He was the cutting edge, the force and heart of the American army. He was the wild horse of generals. Nothing could contain him, no one could get to him. He followed his own path, his men would have followed him to hell.
Still, it's not enough.
He was my enemy, but I see him now and it makes me sick. It could be myself there behind those mad eyes, those delusions. Why did it happen?
He reached the wall and I pushed him through deep into the other side, the wilderness.
It's not fair!
Who do you think you are? Filled to the red, bursting with pride, willfulness, and your super-abundant egos. You think you can glide your war toys anywhere you please, that you can make the earth quake at will, that the secrets of nature are yours for the asking, and that human life is a simple statistic, a mere cost outlay, relegated to an accountant's attention? What is left of humility? Discretion. Moderation.
The world is ruthless, Athena.
Not as ruthless as you are. In one day, the balance of human life is thrown, the scales are tipped, and your story is over.
But Athena, our achievements, our dreams, are they just that? Dreams? Shadows without weight or consequence?
You're beginning to catch on.
That's frightening.
One day is all you have, one day at a time to rise or fall, so be careful.
Athena!
Your kittens playing on a ledge above the sea, one gust of wind is all it takes.
things are okay with you, then everything's fine with us.
Still, if there's any problem with you,
Then it'll also be bad for us.
But no matter what, General, we're on your side,
Sir, a while back, my heart was pounding.
was pounding. They're telling strange stories, sir. But a beast roams the fields. A beast filled with power and rage. And some think he's dressed like a general.
it's Odysseus' men you know, and Odysseus himself probably started it.
Out of hatred of you, sir, it grows and grows.
Now it grows and grows. A general roams the fields, slaughtering cattle. Look! Those may be his medals shining. Those may be his eyes. It grows, and they're all laughing.
Tell them about us and nobody pay attention.
But talk about the great. A general like you, and there's a big audience.
The general and us have always worked well together.
Not like the other officers, always looking down on their men.
Yeah, we would have been nowhere without Ajax. But without you, sir,
We can't answer those
So
morons.
come out, sir, and show your face. Look is all it will take for those cowards to quake.
Still, it was scary, you know, seeing those cattle back there.
Torn up like that. Only some madman would have done it.
Unless something drove him crazy. Something put him over the edge. Some power we can't understand.
Who's the Chinese god? Confucius? Confucius, I guess. Then maybe we should say a prayer to him because my mind is getting shell-shocked beyond belief.
Yes, I think I could use some religious supervision.
Then maybe we should pray. Maybe we should. Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your boots.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your boots.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your mind.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your
Sometimes the night hurts and the wind burns.
Sometimes the night
And you can't see the road, and the words of men are stones.
and you can't see the road and the words.
So maybe we should pray for some religious supervision
Maybe we should.
from whoever is in charge of the night, Confucius or Mars or Captain Midnight. Whoever is calling the shots up there.
Whoever's calling the shots up there.
Whoever can put away this goddamn fear.
No, wait, no more prayers. Let's get the general out here.
General, sir, if you're in there, don't stay anymore. You can't see their hate, their malice. But we have. It's lighting up the sky, sir. It would burn your eye, explode a cartridge. So
Call it out, sir.
as a favor to everyone.
It's the general's wife.
Ma'am.
The general's in trouble, men. He's hurt bad. It's his mind.
Oh, ma'am, we were afraid.
Something got to him. Something drove him insane. He's in there now in the barn. I was just with him. He sits there raving among his tortured and murdered victims.
Jesus, God, save our
You shut up, his wife is here.
The man is right. Our noble master, the man we loved and served, is mad.
Maybe they did something to him, man.
Maybe it's a CIA.
No, it's no plot. It's true. I saw it all. I saw him take his prisoners, then I saw what he did to them. First, he got hold of two white-faced rams, sweet animals, and he cut the head off of one and pulled out its tongue. And he said, "Never again will you speak evil about me." Then he grabbed the other one and tied it to a post, and picking up a length of steel cable, he began to whip it and whip it. The creature was screaming like a child, but he kept at it, and he cursed it with a rage that I have never heard on this earth before.
We'd run
But there's no escaping
No,
it.
don't go. I want you to talk
But
to him.
how can we, ma'am, if he's slaughtering animals?
Because I think it's past. The insane rage, the ghastly lightning that penetrated his skull, it's gone. The horror has cooled and turned to vapor.
Thank God.
Now he has no other choice but to see with his own
But
eyes what he
still
did with
it
his
will be better
hands.
than it was.
But when he was mad, he may have been happy. Yes, he must have been happy in his obsession. Now he's coming back to the map. Pretty soon he'll start seeing the real world with its solid contours, roads, names, and configurations again.
That could be hard.
The real darkness may begin to flow through him. A river more vicious than madness.
When did it start, ma'am?
A few days before maneuvers, he began acting strangely. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, he started cursing his enemies. How Achilles' armors had been stolen from him, how they were all watching him, waiting for him to trip up and go to his doom. Then it would pass, and he would go out and play tennis, or play baseball with our son, or go down to his shop and work on that table he was making. And I would think it's all just strain. He gave so much, and we ask so much of these men, these warriors. But then I would hear him talking to himself, or to be more exact, being talked to.
Being talked to?
Yes, as if something was there goading him on. And suddenly I was cold and alone, like when I was a child, and my father and the leaders of my country were killed, and the trains were loaded with the dead, all because the Americans willed it.
Ma'am.
Then things seemed to pass once more, and he went off on his maneuvers. And last night I called him on the phone, and I knew that he was going mad. So I got our son, I got into the car, and I drove as fast as I could to get to him.
Have you reached the animals yet?
Not yet. He was still in his headquarters preparing himself. He was in his battle dress, his sword and rifle next to him. And as I walked into the room, he looked up at me and said, "Woman, go bother someone else if you please." I had seen this part of him before. The naked male, vain and cold. Not often, but it was not entirely unknown to me. And I knew that I was no longer his wife, or his lover, or his friend, but just a woman whom he barely knew or did not care to know, and he was the warrior general. So I began to cry out, plead and shout, but he shouted louder. "Woman, silence. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to know you and your weakness and stupidity. Be still. Be obedient. Be a pretty dress hanging against the night sky so I can think, so I can go about the business that has been given me to attend to. Go and make me something to eat. I have thoughts stirring my flesh." So I went over to the little stove and pretended to cook, and I watched him as he began talking to this female phantom. I could almost see her. Then he began cursing wildly and ran out the door.
He was going after his enemies.
I watched him get into his car and drive off, so I got into mine and followed.
What about your son, ma'am?
Oh, he was in the back of the car sleeping. I took him along. He rode for miles through dark roads until finally he stopped in the middle of farm country. He got out of his car, climbed through a fence, entered a field. I followed. He came upon a couple of animals and shot them dead with his rifle. Then he walked and found the barn where the 2 white-faced rams were kept. And he did to them what I told you he did.
Goddamn bloody hell.
He was standing there staring at me, and I knew that it had left him. The raging sea had run dry. The sharks had died in the mud. And he said, "Tekmessa, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I am here to watch over my husband." And he said, "What has your husband been doing?" And I said, "He has run mad through fields and barns, and he has killed and butchered animals." And he said, "Poor Tekmessa, your heart must be broken." And I said, "Yes, it was. It was broken." Then he broke down crying and moaning, lashing himself like a crazed child amidst the ruin of his world. And I took his face to me, this child general, and I held it to my heart so that he could hear it, so that it might soothe him amidst the blood and squalor of the slaughtered beasts, so that he could sleep. But he did not sleep, suspended as he was between sanity and insanity, inconsolable, wailing.
Men cry to you.
Now he sits there alone among the slaughtered beasts as if someone had slaughtered him, which is exactly the case.
There's no way out for us.
Can you do something for me, men?
Ma'am.
Speak to him before he does something horrible. He was pleading to me. "Where are my friends?" he said. "Where are my men? I want them near
Yes,
me."
ma'am. Yes, we'll go to him.
You may be the only thing that can help him now.
My son! I want to see my son! Where is he? And my brother! Where is he? Help him! Where's the two, sir?
I am nailed to a circus of blood.
You told us the truth. This is worse than any
I don't know
hell.
how it happened,
Worse
how it came about,
than the man
or who gave me the idea,
of the mountain.
or the hammer,
Oh, General.
or the nails.
He's gone.
Yes.
He's gone.
The nails.
General, sir, we're here to escort you back to camp.
Men, my troopers, my fighters.
Yes, sir.
You were the best we had, the first of the best, the edge of my sword. When your beast took form in the morning light, the enemy fled in terror. Only you can help me now.
And if you fail,
escape this filthy circus, and quite frankly, it's driving me mad. It's the noise. Can you hear it? The flies buzzing inside that sheep's mouth. The blood dripping from that steer's throat. And the mice beginning to gnaw at that dog's leg. So do me the greatest favor.
Yes, sir.
Open fire. Open fire. Kill me now.
One evil cannot cure another evil.
Evil? Killing me? Of course it wouldn't be evil. It would be a laugh, a joke, something worth a chuckle on late night TV. Look, use your eyes. The great general, hero of the great war of the Americas, a cattle butcher, wet with the blood of dumb beasts. Use your eyes, goddammit!
I love God, please, no more.
Out of my sight, all of you. You make me sick. You and your Christian humanity. It's no good. It's rotten. It's inhumane. Where are the real troopers? The real killers when I need them? This is puke. This is women and children. I put the weapons in your hands. I taught you how to fight. I led you to victory after victory. If you ever loved me, then put me out of this world.
It's all broken.
It's
The intricate mechanism
You
is...
see, I had them. My enemies. I was just a step, just a breath away from their heartbeats. But something steered me aside and turned me on these fine and noble beasts.
It's all over now, sir. You can rest.
Where's Odysseus?
Take a drink from my
cunning animal. Oh, he'll get a laugh out of this, all right. If I could get near him, I'd nail him to a stone. I tried his blood to the heart of a stone. Kill him and a few others, then I could die. Oh, what are you saying?
Because you're our general. You gave birth to us upon a field of fire and taught us the love of war, of valor, and of country. It is not easy to break our habit of following you.
Then break it immediately, I order you.
Sir.
I'm not worthy to die with the likes of you men.
That's not true,
I've
sir.
been driven too far.
Darkness is my light. Death, my son. I am hunted by this irresistible woman. She won't rest until she has her revenge. There's no place for me to go or to hide. There'll be no mercy either from man or from God. Burn me now, death, with all your heat, until I'm a cinder, a speck of nothing. That's all I ask.
Who is this woman, sir? We'll find her and kill her. No. Forget her, boys. You wouldn't stand a chance.
But once I was more than a speck. I was the wild horse general. How they ran from my hooves. Now I hang like a drunk before them. Wet with disgrace, goes deep, that blood and vomit right into the bone.
Sir, you mustn't speak this way. It does no good.
Right now, the good is in saying goodbye. That's what I want to do. Say goodbye to this country I once loved. The images still alive inside this Nagasaki ruin. Some purple waves in California. Some flowers once in the Midwest, cutting across a railroad track. I was 20 years old. In the mountains, yes, always the mountains, daredevils, madcaps in the sky. And a couple of rivers that I let wash over me, body and soul, once of a morning or two. One was the Mississippi, The other had no name. How long were we in the jungles, men? And those images were always with me, always sustaining me. My father was a great general, purest of heroes, and I wanted to be like him to do as well. Yes, I tried, but fell to this, something scrawled on an alley wall, yes. Anyway. My father's father was a quiet man, a storekeeper, shy of shot and shell, a lover of the church and its music. But his grandfather was a Sioux chief, a warrior, and one spring day wiped out an arrogant West Point lieutenant and his entire troop outside Fort McKenzie. Birds screamed. Oh, how I dreamed that day, how it blazed me. For I knew that Sioux blood had returned and was flowing through me, full force. I would be the greatest of the war generals, the great American war chief, which I was. For a time. Yes, for a time. How can I ever sit with the old general again? It's injustice. If Achilles had lived, he would have chosen me to receive the honor. But he didn't live. And they took full advantage. Greasy crooks harassing my life, their pockets crammed with dirty tricks. And then that female plague bearer came, caressing my mind with a malaria hand, until I turned red with spasms of beast, a clown, a mockery. People deserve better of their generals, even if only on TV. Shall I give it to them? Attack one more time and die in one last action? No. That would be too kind to my enemies, grant them too much honor. There's no way that I can redeem myself before my father. And a long life is something only a coward is attached to. An endless late night movie when he should be asleep. But honor stolen in life may be regained by an honorable death. There's nothing else that I can ask for. The last bright thing.
Death is easy for you, sir. But there are other things to be considered, one of them being that I would be left quite alone here without you. I would be nothing here in America. My father was a great leader, loved by his people, but he offended American power and was eventually destroyed. My mother, sister, and I were lucky to escape with our lives and come here. And as a very young woman, I met a brave soldier who loved and protected me, even though I never gave up my father's ideas or fire. And I knew they laughed at you. The general and his Lenin-breasted wife, they'd say, don't they make a lovely couple? He kills them by day and sleeps with them at night. I know they never fully trusted you because of me, and that may have eventually led to your downfall. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but don't leave me now. I have no other friend or protector here in this country besides you. Don't leave me or your son here unprotected.
I can't think about that now.
Well, think about your mother who prayed so hard.
Go back to South America, Checkmaster. Some country will have you.
They will have me naked before them.
I'll kill them.
You would be dead yourself. That would be a...
Then I'll come back from the dead and do
General, I'm afraid that's even beyond your military capabilities.
General, listen to us sometimes.
But I can't listen, man. Sir, because she's disobedient, she does not obey me. She comes to me in my time of need, of weakness, and she assaults me. She slaps me in the face. So you see, man, I can no longer hear her. I won't hear her.
I loved you, Ajax. I brought much happiness to you. Don't you remember that?